we have joining them the wonderful Toni Powell. I've known Toni for a long time. She's run incredible events herself, and she's always a good person to speak to when I'm in the depths of it to get some great advice. Hi there, Toni.
Hi, Beth.
Lovely to see you too. She's a storyteller, a workplace culture wonder worker, and the author of What a Feeling: Finding Love, Freedom, and the Good Life Through Creating Great Relationships. Now, I had a hilariously entertaining evening hanging out with Shamash and Toni after our 2017 conference. We were crying with laughter. And also, any time spent with Anthony is a delight. So I know everyone's going to really enjoy the next 15 minutes with you guys in your fireside chat, looking on the brighter side of life. And over to all of you. Bye.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. These two beautiful men and I are so excited to be with you at this incredible conference. And I thought we'd start by just delving in quickly to why we like looking on the brighter side of life. So, Anthony, what have you got to say?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Toni. So for me, looking on the brighter side of life, it comes in a number of areas. So number one, first thing I do is ground myself. And what I mean by that is I'm very open and honest with myself. I say to myself, life is a temporary experience that will come to an end. And I don't say this to scare myself or to be sad, but just to really reflect that this is an amazing experience that I'm a part of. Second thing is to connect with myself. And what I mean by that is connecting to one or many of my senses. So for example, I could just smell my top, smell the subtle aftershave in the background or the washing detergent that I use. Or I could use just my fingers just to play with my beard and listening to the sound it makes or how it feels on my fingertips. So just being super, super present in the exact moment that I am currently in. On top of that, the 1% reminder. This is what I do. I remind myself that no matter what I'm going through in life or how I'm feeling, I can always make 1% happier. And this could be doing a range of things, whether it's making my bed, making my wife some food, sending a nice text message to my friend. And on top of that, as a bonus, using the power of imagination. So when I'm feeling good and happy, just timesing it by 10. So that's sort of my top tips of how to stay on the brighter side of life. Shamash, what about you?
Yo, wow. I'm feeling so positive already. I wanted to share a little story about last time I was on the dark side, and how I managed to get myself out of that. And it was a few years ago. It was in London. It was dark. It was cold. It was foggy. It's a bit like the weather is right now. And I got myself into a bit of a rut. My internal weather was just cold and dark and foggy too. And the worst thing of all is I just couldn't get myself out into actually doing any positive practice like meditation, which I really enjoy, half an hour of meditation. I wasn't even slightly motivated to do that. And I actually teach meditation and mindfulness, and I'm telling other people to do it. I'm writing books about it, Mindfulness for Dummies, which is quite a funny title, but it just didn't feel good. Anyway, I ended up reading another book, which was a book on Kaizen, which means small change. It wasn't Kaizen for Dummies. I moved a bit up higher than that. And it talked about taking very, very small steps and then celebrating. So small that the book says, call them stupid small. So I thought, okay, what's the stupid small version of a meditation? And it wasn't even 1 minute, it was one breath. I'm like, I can do one breath. That is stupid small. And I can celebrate. So that's what I did. Every morning I woke up, I did just one mindful breath because that's all I was motivated to do. And then I was like, yes, I've done my meditation, and I celebrated. And from there, I managed to build it up and started to kind of build up my meditation and my other practices and started to feel a bit brighter. But what about you, Toni? Are you always bright and shiny and happy?
Oh, God. I definitely did not used to be. I think that if Australia had, well, if the world ran Olympics for whining and complaining, I'd have won gold for Australia every year. For years and years. I actually thought of giving up complaining at one point. I became aware I complained a lot. So I thought, that's not good, I'll give that up. But then I couldn't work out what I was going to talk about. That's how much I complained. Sounds like a tragic joke and an exaggeration, but is quite true, I'm sad to say. Anyway, I actually really thought any people who looked on the brighter side of life, as, you know, in the face of suffering, were idiots. You know, something wrong with their brain style, idiots. It just didn't make sense to me. And it really wasn't until I got into the science that I began to understand. For instance, something that really affected me was finding out that just one negative word releases dozens of stress hormones, just one word. And those stress hormones not only make you feel bad and feel, you know, you don't feel good when you're stressed, but they have an impact on the logic area of your brain, your reason, and your language. So you become more stupid. So it's actually the people on the dark side whose brains aren't working that well. And it didn't seem to me to make rational sense to do that to my own brain. So I'm much more careful now to really choose to be on the bright side as often as possible. Anthony, you are always a little ray of sunshine. How do you manage to stay so positive?
Well, it's a thing I like to call the yin to the yang. And what I mean by that is channeling both energies, both negative and positive, to help you persevere. So a couple of examples. Me being in hospital, dying. Worst thing that's ever happened to me. In that moment, I was thinking, why me? Why's it happening to me? Didn't quite understand it. Fast forward 10 years later, looking back, that was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I now get it. I can understand that. I can move on from it. Secondly, the overcoming fear, speaking in front of 400 people. Biggest, scariest thing I've ever been through. But what did I gain from that experience? At the end of that experience, I got that feeling of, wow, I did it. That body buzz, which I now chase in life. So now I understand and I can appreciate fear because of what it done for me. Stepping out of my comfort zone. I see myself as a very simple person. Getting asked to work in a FTSE 100 company with no interview, no knowledge, just sort of brought into the company, that was quite scary for me. But what did I gain from that? It took me on a journey around the whole UK where I got to learn communication skills. And I got to learn to share my story and fall in love with the art of storytelling. So now all of those negative things I've been through, I can actually appreciate them. So now I appreciate my highs as well as my lows, because I understand that if you use negative energy channeled in the right direction, it can actually push you, in a nice direction. Question for you, Tony.
Yeah.
You were talking to us the other day about perception.
Yeah.
Do you mind just giving us a little insight of what you were talking about then?
I think this is such cool research. The Perceptual Research Lab at the University of Virginia comes out with some great things. One that I liked was that if you're feeling stressed, negative, or very tired, then a mountain will feel around 30% higher to you than it really is. The backpack will feel around 30% heavier than it really is. And the same is true for the issues in our lives. Our perception of them becomes totally distorted. So all loads feel heavier, all obstacles loom larger, all problems less surmountable, and the alternatives and escape routes that we would normally be able to see if we were in a more positive frame of mind, we can't see them. They just disappear to our vision. And so we become really overwhelmed and stressed and stuck when we actually don't need to be, because there is a solution. So I thought that was really interesting, that really the dark side is actually the darker side. We're kind of not only dumber, but we're also blind to what's right in front of us. And yeah, I definitely don't want to be there. And every time I'm tempted to kind of wallow a bit and whinge, complain and be negative, more than just a little bit, of course, you spend a little bit of time there. I think I'm not going to see the solution. I'm not going to be able to contribute. I'm not going to be my best self if I stay here. So I make deliberate moves. And I know, Smash, that you were like the master of deliberate little moves. So tell us how to get out of this dark side.
I might make a little move right now. See you later. This idea of little moves, of Kaizen, of doing these like stupid, I just love the odd concept of stupid small steps. And I got very excited about it. Both that and the idea of celebrating afterwards. I just thought that was so powerful, because I thought I could actually do anything. I could run around the world if I want. I could just make it very, very, very small steps at a time. And the other great thing about it is that you don't need to use willpower. And that's something I don't have very much of, and it very easily runs out for me. And I found that it's not even just me. Everybody has very little willpower. It runs out very quickly. So as one teacher told me, don't use willpower, use wisdom power. And I liked that. Not sure if I had much more of the wisdom power, but this book on Kaizen really helped me. And so one of the things that I discovered about well-being and happiness is not just mindfulness is good for you or positive thinking as such, but also smiling. Now, there's actually a whole book about the power of smiling. There's TED Talks all concentrated on smiling. And so I thought, okay, how can I apply this philosophy of stupid small to smiling? Because there's loads of research on the benefits of it. But for example, this morning, I teach meditation every morning, and I just woke up and I had this headache. I wasn't feeling that great. The last thing I wanted to do was like, okay, let's all meditate together and have big smiles on our faces. I wasn't up for that. But I came up with this idea. What would be a stupid small version of meditation? One breath. What's a stupid small version of smiling? The 1% smile was born. And so I thought, okay, I might not be able to do a massive smile or a big smile, but I could do a 1% smile. Okay. And so I shared this idea with my meditation group, a mindfulness group, and everyone seemed to love it. Even they're going through chronic pain, they're going through difficult emotional challenges. They thought, yes, I can do this 1%. And they often tell me at the end of that meditation or mindful practice, they just felt a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more positive. And that 1% becomes a bit bigger. I know one of my students teaches Qigong classes, and he said the whole class loved it when he shared it. So these 1% smiles can make a difference, and a 1% becomes a 2%. I mean, if you can do a 1% smile, what would a 2% smile or a 10% smile? And quite easily it becomes a 100% smile. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about this, but what about if we try right now? And I've got no idea how many people are in the audience, or if anyone's watching at all. Hopefully someone's out there. But why don't we start a revolution by doing a 1% smile right now, all of us together? Okay.
Give me a second. I need to lose my smile before
It's a bit, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, have you seen those videos, try not to laugh videos, where they'll play the video, well, this one's try not to smile too much. Okay. So let's see if we can do it. So, okay. 3, 2, 1, 1% smile. Tony, that almost turned into crying. Try it. I'm really curious. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It could be the worst thing that's happened in the world, but you sit there and just think, okay, I reckon I could probably do a 1% smile. And yeah, it's good. I think some of our politicians could start with this initial training with this 1%, just build it up slowly, and then start the morning with a few push-ups as well. I could do push-ups with my fingers. Oh God! Well, I really enjoyed chatting to you all. You're both great lights of positivity for me, and I really appreciate you all having a go at this. Thanks a lot, guys.
We love hanging out with you.
Yeah.
3, you are just fantastic. I wish I could have been in there with you, but I wouldn't have been saying much. I just would have been laughing, I think. So thanks for your great insights, and I particularly liked that idea about how one negative word can have such a detrimental effect. So make mental note of that. And also the 1% smile. All do that. We can all do that. So thank you very much. Tony will be back again at 1:15 this afternoon. She's giving a talk on how to make life amazing right now. So put that on your schedule. You won't want to miss that one. Thank you, everyone. You can go to bed now, Anthony and Shamash. Yeah. Good night. And see you later, Tony. Bye. Okay, so